Sire, what is your question today?
Well, it might almost be a double barrel question, but it's basically, and it should, what have we got? So you should be able to answer it within 35 minutes.
Do you not feel like talking?
That's part of the challenge for you, 35-minute response. So you're going to have to condense it down. So the question I ask, or the questions I ask of you is, what is the present moment? And is it important? And why or why not?
Interesting question. Yeah. There is only the present moment in the entire universe. Okay, it's only in, as I see it, in this holographic third dimension where you tend to get different times with the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun. You get cycles, and so. But when you get out of these lower dimensions, which includes the mental dimension and even the subconscious dimension, let alone the astral. When you get out of those to, let's say, the fifth dimension and sixth, going upwards to the many dimensions up there, you don't get time. And so there's, I think, the true reality of the present moment, the now, and I think you may sort of link into it sometimes in a dream state if you dream and move on, or in a spiritual travel state, not an astral travel, but a spiritual travel where you move out of the sort of physical dimension. And just in that dream state, you can perhaps be aware of it. But that's very, very seldom. And that's a conscious thing. It's not so much a dream state, actually. The dream state, you generally tend to stay in one of the 7 astral planes. Yeah. What do you think it is?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that is probably not something that you can logically describe. But the way I would point to experiencing it might be like a threefold practice. So maybe like like a very narrow sliver of it, might be just sitting and focusing on your breath, but focusing around the heart region, so around the solar plexus region. And the focus of that would just be to experience, not think about or contemplate or anything like that, but just experience the sensations of the breath. And once you sort of focus in on that, then perhaps you could expand that awareness to the immediate environment around you. So you might notice sounds, or you might notice a breeze, or you might notice the temperature, or you might notice all sorts of things in that immediate environment. And then once I think, if you're able to attain that so narrow, then the next level encompasses that. And then I guess the next encompassing level as part of this experiential component in these dimensions could be just experiencing life, the light, being alive. So experiencing just being, which encompasses the former 2 areas of focus to try and experience what the present moment is. And that sort of then begs the question, the Plumstead eternal question of why.
Mm.
And I think it is important to try and, no, not to try, to have that experience as best you are able to, and if it's something that you cultivate over time, is because a lot of the workings of the mind, or the noise of the mind, is just that ricochet between the past and the future, you know, regret or fear or all that sort of nonsense. So if you're trying to do like that practice, if you want to call it practice like that, and the mind isn't going to stop, but an interesting way to quiet the mind somewhat is, because the chatter invariably is about something that's happened or something that might happen, all you need to say to the mind is, it's not here now. And it sort of almost disempowers, you know, the thought that might be prevailing at any point in time. It's not here now. You know, or where is, you know, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? Well, it's not here now.
Yeah. Interesting. You started off with the analogy, or not the analogy, the practice of sort of contemplating and just focusing your mind on your breathing, and then you used that example into life, and from what I hear you saying, or maybe I should say, are you saying this, that really there's only, because you brought the mind into it now, is that there's only now, or not only now because of the mind. So and you're saying, you know, get the mind to focus on this moment, on the now, is that you're going to then bring whatever you're doing into this moment. Is that what you're saying, that the mind's actually behind all this?
No, I'm saying that the mind is a huge distraction to it. That the constant in it is the present moment. It's the constant. It's always there. But the mind, you know, ricochets all around the place. And I guess what I'm saying is, and you have to be really sort of prompt to point out, it's not about right or wrong or good or bad or happy or sad or any of that other emotional, you know, emotions, because it's a case of whatever is here now. So if sadness is here now, then that's what's here now. Or if happiness is here now, or if fear is here now, or whatever is here now is here now. But part of the discipline, I guess, and I suppose the awareness is probably a better word, of as thoughts arise, is the fundamental question is it here now? And maybe a way to put a sort of a positive context around it is, it could even be sort of couched in the phrase is, am I happy? Which is an emotion. But the answer to that question, if you're honest with yourself, will be about what's happening now.
Or what you're feeling now, are you saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, the feeling, like, you know, we're emotional animals or beings. So it's not about, as some religions would have you believe, about being in a state of bliss. Although I hasten to add, though, you can be in a state of bliss in my experience, and still be sad or angry or depressed.
Okay.
Because you're accepting of what is.
Mm. 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 Yeah, interesting. I think you've got me thinking about that.
Well, you've still got 20 minutes to go. So.
yeah. Can we? Is there another terminology other than what you posed the question with, here and now?
Well, the question was, what is the present moment? So you can describe that any way you like.
Yeah. What is the present moment? Do you think there's anything else besides the present moment?
Well, from a position of truth, no. But from the position of the mind, it would have you believe all sorts of things.
Yeah, but if you bring the mind into it in the way that you have, then, you know, if the mind makes you think of tomorrow, you know, that's the present moment. It's about thinking of tomorrow. Is there anything that's the present moment? That's the reality of this moment.
Is it though?
Well, if you're thinking about it and it's occupying a space at this moment, then it's what's happening at this moment. Yeah.
I don't think you should think about this moment within the context of time. Because this moment is timeless.
Yeah. Very difficult to think of it outside of time. You can.
Well, that would be my invitation to you: is don't think it, just experience it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can think it.
Yeah.
It's impossible to think it because the mind can only think in 2 dimensions, the past or the future.
And where does the emotional come into it? Because the mind can affect the emotion and the emotion can affect the mind.
So can the body.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very challenging question.
It's a fairly fundamental question, though, isn't it, in many respects? Because if I replace the word moment with where is God, is that any different?
I would probably see it differently.
Why?
Probably because you're using a word like where, and as we sit in this area that we do now, in this 3-dimensional world, everything is about location and where. Okay, and a lot of what you're saying is really related, I think, more to another experience altogether. It's when you evolve to a sort of a spiritual dimension.
But just about every religion in their own sort of way you know, implores you or invites you or encourages you to be in the present moment or be here now, or, you know, all sorts of terms that are used through different religions. And it's interesting because, well, I find it interesting in the sense that is that they don't really attempt, because I think it's impossible, to describe what it means to be here now.
Mm.
You know, the unaware would say, well, I am here now. Where else can I be? But we know that your mind can take you anywhere.
Within the mind,
but
not physically. Okay. So yeah, but it can't take you to the spiritual dimensions.
What can't? The mind.
The mind. Yeah. It's limited to, you know, the different aspects of the physical dimensions. Okay. It can't go above itself, if you like. It can only go beneath itself. Yeah. So
you look very worried.
Yeah, I think probably because I've been thinking more of, you know, our existence here and now. Okay, to try and link the conversation to what I was thinking, and what we said in the past, you know, about, you know, the mind playing all sorts of games. Sure, okay, and we've learned how now to manage that and to not try and negate the mind's positive or negative or love or satanic aspects that it brings to us in thinking of the future and the past, but to level it to the now would be keeping to the middle path. Okay, keeping to that balance, keeping that balance now. I would have seen that as perhaps the here and now is balancing whatever is in front of us, in order to get to answering your question, because of where we find ourselves now. Yeah.
It's an interesting experience to pursue.
Okay. And what do you think would be the outcome of pursuing it as an individual?
Oh, I think it's experiencing what is, which is the truth. Without a doubt.
You seem to think that the truth is a single thing, or yeah, experiencing the truth. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the truth what is what is. Whatever that may be. Because I think that's the other sort of question too. When you think about a lot of religions, they talk about, you know, pursuing the truth, or, you know, on the path to truth and righteousness and all those sort of things. But again, what does that actually mean? If you were to talk to a member of the Illuminati, they would have you believe that the truth is happiness and well-being is rooted in your collection of artifacts.
Sure.
But we know that's not true.
Why do we know that's not true?
Because we know that a new car or a new house or a new wife or a new boyfriend or a new whatever does not make you happy.
Okay.
Because it's pursuing something which is out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned that it's a hologram, so is it even real? What's out there?
Well, is anything real that's not out there, that's in here then? Okay.
Well, I don't know, and that's why you pursue the truth. I think I've stumped you.
Yeah. It's way beyond me to even try and use my mind, because there's nothing else I can use to try and answer that. Okay.
Well, why do you think that your mind is the only tool that you have at your disposal?
Because in this conversation, I have to use my mind in order to talk. Okay.
But can't you experience it?
Well, you got to first verbalize it. Okay.
Because the mind is I, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if I pick up mind pick up the eye out of your forehead and put the eye over on that chair over there behind your right shoulder. So eyes over there, you're over here. So where are you?
You mean, who am I?
No, I said, where are you?
Okay.
So if I's over there, where are you?
Tell me what you've got in mind.
You tell me. You must know where you are.
No. Because I don't identify myself with my mind. Okay. But in this holographic, there is no other form of identity. Because, if I say I, what am I referring to? I don't necessarily refer to my mind.
Well, when you fall asleep at night, where do you go? Do you cease to exist?
No, I fall asleep in my bed.
Yeah, that's where you might physically be, but where are you?
Physically in my bed.
But where's the I? Does it cease to exist?
No, it doesn't cease to exist.
Well, where is it?
So where do you think it is? Okay.
Well, I don't think.
Okay. So you don't think. So therefore what? Don't you have an eye if you don't think?
Well, if I put I in that chair over beside your eye, it's over there. So where am I? Well, I'm here now. The eye is over there. And if I is not here, and if I is not there, here, now.
All right. Okay. I can go along with that. Okay.
And does that matter? Or is that just an academic curiosity?
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
No, you're the one who's employing this idea. You're the one who's been thinking about this.
No, I haven't been thinking about it. That's the point.
Okay.
I've been trying to. I'll stop using that word try. I've been pursuing, and I haven't either. There has been a pursuit of experiencing now.
Mm, mm.
And I have to say it's timeless.
Yeah. So now, from the 25 minutes ago that we started to now, okay, certain things have happened, okay, in this third dimension of our reality. Okay, so and at any moment there is the now. Like right now, I'm talking. There's the now, and that we can't change because the now will manifest itself differently in our consciousness, and that's what this life down here is about.
But the wonderful thing about the now is you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, because it's going to happen anyway. Okay, it's going to bring another.
Well, no, that's a statement about the future.
Mm.
The now just is.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you with that. I mean, but where do we go now with that awareness?
Well, why do you need to go anywhere? Go where? Where are you going?
In other words, you're saying that there's no need for you and I to have these discussions because we're not going anywhere. We're not.
Well, no, I think it's entirely appropriate to have a wonderful conversation now.
Mm.
Not about the past, not about the future, but just about now.
Mm.
It can only make you smile.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And from the position of now, if you just look at anything, not based on past, not based on what future might be, but just look at something as it is now. The only way I can describe that is it must be akin to like a newborn baby. It just looks at things like colors and faces and everything and just looks in wonder and in awe. Because you can't be anywhere else except for right here.
Mm.
And it's also, I would probably argue that it's quite humbling because it's got nothing to do with you. It's happening in spite of you.
Mm. Mm.
Doesn't depend on you. It's just that you're here now. It doesn't need you, but it does love you. So it's a gracious thing. And as you try and build and describe that experience, rather than a concept, describe that experience, it takes you into the realm of the divine, just like that. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just be. Now that's grace.
Okay. So what is grace?
The fact that there's this experience of being here right now. There's no issue about it being deserved or entitled or any of those things. It just is. You know, I think, I'm just trying to think what it was. It might have been one of the Benedictine chants was around, I am here. You are here. We are here. And the you referring to God. I am here. God is here. We are here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I find it quite a relief actually, because I spent far too much time ricocheting between the past and analysing or reworking or telling those stories again, or creatively calculating future scenarios or whatever. When you don't have to do anything, you just now.
Mm. Mm.
And if the mind comes and keeps on tapping you on the shoulder, just do it for 1 second or half a second or even quarter of a second. Just experience it now.
So if you're depressed now, then that's your now.
That's how you've shown up. That's what's showing up. And that doesn't have to be right or wrong or good or bad or anything. It's just what is.
So you're depressed for the whole day, in fact, the whole week, the whole year. That's your here and now.
Or if you get the flu, your experience will be a sore throat and a runny nose and a headache. But that's what is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that stop you from being? Absolutely not.
Mm. Okay, I'm with you.
Sorry to do that to you.
Yeah. Mm.
But if you decide to pursue the experience, even momentarily, my experience was it's quite a nice holiday.
Okay. Yeah. The thing that it makes it difficult is the fact that, you know, in order to move from one moment to another moment in this mind, you need to use your mind. You need to use your brain and your emotions and whatever's put up in front of you. So you're always dealing with something. Okay. And whatever that something is, that's the now. Okay.
But when if you do want to think about it, but when you think about it, like, isn't that what the unfolding is? Like, the weather is the weather. You know, the sun's in the sky or the sun's not in the sky. There's no meaning attached to it. It just is.
Mm. Yeah. But, you know, if the sun's not in the sky and there's rain and there's the wind, it's cold, you know, you then don't go and walk because it's rainy and cold. So there's the mind at play just observing what you're doing out there. So, and that is that at that moment, that is you. Okay, that is your here and now. That's your present circumstances at that split moment.
I think it's important, certainly based on my experience, is being aware and grounded in the present moment, if that's how we want to label it, is a way of providing that connection to, like, you know, the deep listening and not the voice that's constantly sitting on your shoulder telling you what's right or wrong or good or bad or indifferent. Because I think we've spoken about that and we agreed that it's not something that tells the truth or even acts in your best interest, for that matter. But from time to time, there is this knowing or voice, or however you want to describe it, which comes from a completely different place. And that is something, you know, and my sense of it is your awareness of that truth, if you want to call it that, that's what I like to call it, is much heightened when you're able to ground yourself in now. Because you're not trying to do anything, you're not trying to be anything, you're not trying to prove anything, you're not planning anything, you're not doing anything, you're just being and yielding and open and, you know, all of those types of ideas. I think we're going to get cut off in a minute.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a concept that yeah, I guess you know, if you're in a, you know, if you're driving a motor car on the freeway, that's your now, and that's what you're doing. Okay, and you can't sort of jump out of that moment into some sort of tranquility of nothingness, if you like. But you can be tranquil in the fact that you are driving a motor car. And that's,
yeah, I don't think being in the present moment precludes you from being engaged in activity, though.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. I think that's an important point.
If anything, I think it would heighten your engagement.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry to do that to you. You look quite worried.
Yeah, no. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very tired, and just one of those unfortunate days. But it's probably a good place to stop.
Yeah.
And we'll tackle something else.
So you can tell the eye to get off that chair and come back if you like. So, or you can leave it there. Up to you. Sounds good. Hey, on Sunday, I'll have to see how I go, because I've actually got to go to Hobart next week.
Okay.
But I can still do the Skype through the phone. It'll just be a different setup, basically.
Well, let's see. Let me know if you can't. That's all.
Yeah, I will.
Even if it's only 5 minutes before, it's fine.
Yeah, no, sure. I'm sure we can do something. So, yeah.
Okay. No, that's right.
Perfect. Right. Okay,
well,
then.
Stay well, man.
And you too. And don't be so worried.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.